Welcome to the GATE 2021 Conclave for Computer Engineering. In this video, we will talk about Database Management System by Mr. P. Ravi Kumar, Computer Network by Mr. Ram Kumar, Computer Organization by Mr. P. Sagar. Let us know the story of these subjects, inside preparation method of these subjects by the experts.
Hi everyone, welcome to MEDIZI Prime. Today we are going to discuss GATE 2021 Conclave for Computer Science. So mainly we are going to discuss syllabus change as well as examination pattern and weightage of marks for the subject DBMS. So let us start. My name is Ravi Kumar. I did MTech from NIT Warangal. I works for CDOT as a research engineer. So it's a telecommunication R&D company, and I works for MEDIZI since 2008, around 12 years experience in MEDIZI as a GATE instructor or a GATE teacher. From 16 years onwards, I am working for GATE computer science subject teaching, and so this is a brief introduction to me. So syllabus of GATE 2021 as part of DBMS subject. Okay, so integrity constraints and ER model, one topic, and relational model queries, relational algebra queries, relational calculus queries and SQL, normalization and normal forms, and file organization, indexing, B tree and B plus tree, and transaction and concurrency control. So these are the 5 major topics as part of the DBMS syllabus. So almost all topics are equally important. So we are going to discuss topic wise mark segregation and format of the question, and new format of question which is introduced in GATE 2021 in detailed manner, and the study strategy and reference books and all. Okay, so this is the syllabus as for the GATE brochure. This is the syllabus which is mentioned. So let us go. As for GATE 2021, there is no changes in the syllabus. Okay, so there is no topic added in this year or no topic removed from this subject. Okay, so DBMS syllabus, no additional topics in GATE 2021 compared to previous year, and no topic is removed from the existing syllabus. So syllabus of DBMS for GATE 2021 exactly same as like the previous GATEs. Let us see last 5 years weightage statistics. So in 2020 last year GATE examination, 2 1 mark questions and 3 2 mark question, total 8 marks, and same in 2019 also, same thing in 2018 also. Okay, and in 2017 and 16 and 2 sets of examination. So but both the sets the weightage is same, 2 1 mark questions and 4 2 mark questions, and 4 1 mark question and 2 2 mark question. So on average we can expect 8 to 10 marks from the DBMS subject. So average we can say 8 to 10 marks from the DBMS, and it is one of the scoring. If we study DBMS properly, guaranteed that we can able to score whole 8 marks without any mistakes in examination. Once we study from the MEDIZI live classes, damn sure you will able to score 8 out of 8 or 9 out of 9 or 10 out of 10. So based on the weightage which is given in the examination of 2021. So it's one best subject for scoring marks. So this is the statistics of DBMS for last 5 years. So let us see weightage of each topic subtopic wise and what are important topics from each and every topic. Okay, so let us see little more detailed manner. So one of the topic in a syllabus, integrity constraints and ER model. So sometime they use it to give 2 mark questions also, but mostly 1 2 mark question. So are 2 1 mark questions from integrity constraint as well as ER model. So these are the subtopics. One basic topic from the integrity constraint, learning about the keys. Okay, so we have to learn what is mean by relational database model, relational database management system model, and we should also learn about candidate key, primary key, alternative key, super key and foreign key. So numerical question point of view, questions related to super key, questions related to foreign key are more frequent. So many questions, so many numerical questions they use it to ask related to super key, and so many questions they use it to ask related to foreign key. So these are the key constraint. Okay, so we can expect 1 2 mark question from the key constraint. And other important thing from this integrity constraint and ER model, and of course designing of ER model, ER diagrams. Okay, so design of ER diagram for a given constraint and conversion of ER model to RDBMS table, and if a given ER model is given, ER diagram is given, we need to find how many minimum relational database tables required for it, and this kind of questions they use it to ask. So it's one simple area, just a basic integrity constraint and basic key constraint, and like a super key and foreign key and primary key, alternative key and all, and design of ER model and conversion of ER model to RDBMS table, and we need to find minimum relational database tables for a given ER model. Okay, so these are the things. Weightage of this topic is around 2 to 4 marks. Most probably you will get the 1 2 mark question or 1 1 mark question and 1 2 mark question. So 2 to 3 marks we can expect from the integrity constraint and ER model. Let us move to the next topic. Queries. In DBMS gate point of view or interviews point of view, writing queries is one important thing. In the DBMS, we should write the queries. So its queries doesn't mean that just simply writing some simple thing. We are going to study queries with respect to mathematical evaluation. So we use lot of set theory applications, lot of first order logic applications, lot of predicate calculus applications to develop the queries. Okay, so gate question of the queries little mathematical oriented. Okay, it's not like a plain writing simple query. So actually query means accessing required data from the set of tables. Okay, so we have to handle the sets. So we need to know proper idea how to apply the set theory and how to apply first order logic and how to apply predicate calculus. So lot more queries we are going to discuss as part of MedEasy live classes. So then one important topic of the queries, relational algebra queries. So it is a procedural query language and so many questions they use it to ask from the relational algebra. And once we know the development of relational algebra queries, it is become easier to write the next type of queries which are SQL. So there are 3 type of queries we are going to study as part of MedEasy live classes. One is relational algebra queries by using various operators, joins and division, set operations as etc. And SQL queries, so nested queries we are going to study, correlated nested queries we are going to study, and relational calculus. So there are 2 types of relational calculus queries. One is tuple relational calculus and other one is domain relational calculus. And one time they also touch the meaning of domain relational calculus, but mostly the question from the TRC only. Okay, so relational algebra queries, SQL queries and relational calculus queries and comparison of expressive power, theoretical comparison of expressive power of various queries. What can be done in relational algebra, what is failed to do by the relational algebra, and what can be done in TRC, and what is failed to done by TRC, and expressive power comparison is also one important thing. And this is the topic which is more mathematical oriented. It is not like simple writing the queries. We should learn the queries with respect to mathematical evaluation, and it is more important almost every year 2 mark question from the queries. Okay, you can see every any previous year, so almost 90-95% of chances to get the 2 mark question from the queries. Maybe 2 relational algebra queries or 2 SQL queries, 1 relational algebra, 1 SQL query, or 1 relational algebra, 1 TRC query, something like that. So we can expect 4 marks from the queries. It is very important. It is not only important for examination of GATE, it is also important for any competitive exam as well as campus interviews. So this is the next topic, next important topic of DBMS subject. Next, normalization, schema refinement. Okay, so we apply normalization to reduce the redundancy and eliminate the redundancy to avoid inconsistency in the database. Okay, so these are the some basic topics of normalization. So one is finding candidate key of the given relational schema, and it is one important area. So you can say the one frequent question from the normalization, we need to find total number of candidate keys of the given relational schema. So in this video also I am going to include one sample question that also related to normalization. We are going to study 3-4 sample questions, out of that one question is from normalization. So next, the weightage of this normalization is around 2 to 4 marks. One 2 mark question or 2 mark questions, okay, we can expect from the normalization. So finding candidate key of the given relational schema is one important topic, and canonical cover are also called minimal cover. Finding minimum possible FDs which are logically equal to the given FD set, okay, it is other important thing. And other important thing is testing of lossless join and dependency preserving. So it is one other important, and most important thing in the entire normalization is the normal forms. So 1NF, 2NF, 3NF, BCNF. So they will give some relation. We need to find highest normal form of the given relational schema. So that is other important thing, and decomposition into higher normal form. So the lot of conceptual questions which are related to decomposition into 2NF, 3NF, BCNF. Okay, so the decomposition of higher normal form is also other important, and not much questions from multi-value dependencies and fourth normal form. So 1 or 2 times the question is given from multi-value dependency and fourth normal form. Otherwise, not much repeated questions from MVD and 4NF. So from this normalization, weightage of the normalization as for exam point of view is 1 2 mark question or 2 mark questions. Okay, so important topics: finding candidate key, or lossless join, dependency preserving testing, or testing of highest normal form. So 1NF to BCNF. Okay, so this is the normalization. It is also important for interviews. Okay, so frequently they use it to ask questions from normalization in interviews. So next, let us move to the next topic. This is one of the other important topic from the DBMS: file organization and indexing. Not much about the file organization, just a brief idea how to organize the database files in disk. Okay, so file organization we are going to study, and main important thing is indexing. Indexing is most important area from this topic. Okay, so introduction to indexing. One important thing is primary index, clustering index, secondary index with multi-level index. So there are so many times the questions is given, like if primary index with multi-level index is used, and what is IO cost or what is number of index blocks. If secondary index and multi-level index is used, what is IO cost and what is number of blocks of indexing. Like that, this kind of questions are frequent in examination. And most important thing from this indexing is dynamic multi-level indexing. Okay, so B tree and B plus tree, balanced search tree. So we use balanced search tree, which is B tree and B plus tree for database index. So most of the cases, 80-90% of index questions are from B tree questions or B plus tree questions. It is one important area. It is one of the advanced data structure. It is also very important for campus recruitment, campus interviews. Okay, so the dynamic multi-level index B tree and B plus tree, lot of numerical questions, lot of conceptual questions we going to study as for MEDIZ live classes. It is other important area from the indexing. Okay, next, and it is one small thing, it is not related to indexing, but just finding IO cost whenever we join two tables. If main memory space limitations are exist, and how much access cost required to join two database tables. Okay, so there are two algorithms, one is nested loop join algorithm and other one is block nested loop join algorithm. So 3-4 times in GATE examination they ask question related to a join algorithms. So as in this is the other important area, file organization and indexing. Weightage of this is 1-2 mark question or 2 mark questions. Okay, so introduction to indexing and primary clustering secondary index, dynamic multi-level index and join algorithm. So most important area from this topic is the B tree B plus tree questions. So let us move to one more topic, transactions and concurrency control. So this is one other important area. Most of the cases 2 mark question from the transaction and concurrency control are based on the weightage of other topics. It may be 1-2 mark question. So but it's very important area for competitive exams. So one important thing from transactions is acid properties, which covers whole introduction of the transaction, what is goal of the transaction management, what we expecting from transaction and concurrency control, we are going to study as part of discussion of the acid properties. Okay. Next, the classification of schedule based on serializability. There are two types of classification. One of the classification is based on serializability. In this classification we are going to study whether the given schedule is serializable or not. Testing of a given schedule is serializable or non-serializable. So for that there are two test cases. One is conflict serializable schedule and second one view serializable schedule. So this is one most important area from the transaction management. So we can say, if you observe the previous GATE questions, 80-90% of transaction management questions are only from conflict serializability and view serializability. So the without conflict serializability, view serializability detailed knowledge, it is very difficult to answer the transaction management questions of the DBMS, and it is not like blindly solving conflict serializable question or view serializable question. So lot of fundamental comparison and lot of theoretical analysis. So sometime in GATE examination of DBMS they used to ask concept oriented questions also. So this is one important area, and we are going to study around 5 to 6 hours or 7 hours. We are going to discuss conflict serializable schedule or view serializable schedule questions, okay, as a MEDIZ live classes. So this is other important area from the transaction management. And one more classification of schedule is based on recoverability. So previous one is classification based on serializability, and this is classification based on recoverability. So irrecoverable schedule is a one issue, one drawback. So there are three drawbacks we are going to study here. One is problem of irrecoverability and problem of cascading rollback and problem of lost update problem. So in order to control irrecoverable, cascading rollback as well as lost update problem, we are going to put some restriction in concurrency controlling, that is called recoverable condition, cascade less rollback condition and strict recoverable condition. So examination point of view, this is other important area from the transaction management. And the concurrency control protocols, one is locking protocol including 2PL, strict 2PL, rigorous 2PL, conservative 2PL, etc., and other is timestamp ordering protocol. So we are going to discuss in detail how to handle the protocol and what are possibility of questions from protocols in MedEasy live classes. So overall we can say weightage of transaction concurrency control is 2 to 4 marks, either 1 2 mark question or 2 2 mark question. Most frequently the question from either conflict serializability or view serializability. So this is the important area from the transaction management, but there is a chance to get the question from other areas also. So this is the weightage of DBMS for GATE 2021 topic wise, subtopic wise. Okay, let us see the pattern of questions. One pattern is multiple choice question. It is a well known, it is there in the previous pattern also, and the one most important thing over here, the negative marking. So because of negative marking, you should be very focused for answering multiple choice questions. If one or two simple multiple choice questions get mistake in examination, it may affect the result so much. Okay, so the more important thing, you should be very accurate for answering the multiple choice questions. Okay, it's a lot of negative marking. So around 33% negative marking. For 1 mark question, it is 0.33 marks is the negative marking if it is mistake. If 2 mark question, 2 by 3 means 0.66 marks. Okay, is the negative marking. Okay, so let us see one of the question from this pattern. Multiple choice question. What is highest normal form of the given relational schema? A, B, C, D, E, F with the functional dependencies AB determines C, C determines A, BC determines D, ACD determines B, and BE determines C, EC determines AF, and CF determines BD, and D determines E. We need to find highest normal form of the given relational schema. So 1NF, 2NF, 3NF, BCNF. Okay. So to handle this question, to find highest normal form of the given question, we must find all possible candidate keys of the given relational schema. So we need to find candidate keys of the given relational schema. So AB closure, if we calculate the AB closure, AB determines ABC and BC determines D and D determines E, and EC determines F also. So AB closure determines the all attributes. A closure is only A, B closure is only B. So AB is one candidate key. AB is the one candidate key. In place of A, you can take the C. BC closure also determines all attributes A, B, C, D, E, F. So BC is the other candidate key. AB, BC are two candidate keys. A prime, B prime, and C prime. So next, B is pot of key, C is also pot of key. In place of C of this candidate key, if you take BE, if C is replaced by BE, then BE closure also determines all attributes A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, so only B closure, B only, E closure, E only. So BE is next candidate key, one more candidate key. Okay, next, B is pot of key, pot of many keys. B can replace by ACD. If this B is replaced by ACD, then it become ACD. If this B replaced by ACD, it become ACD. Let us take the ACD. ACD closure also determines all attributes A, B, C, D, E, F. You can text the closure, and because C determines the A and A removal, still C closure can give the A. So ACD closure determines all attributes and CD closure also determines all attributes. So ACD is not a candidate key, but CD is become candidate key. Okay, C closure is only C and D closure, C closure is only C and A, D closure is only D and E. Okay, so CD is become one candidate key. Now, and this this B is replaced by ACD, and if you replace this B with ACD, again you get the ACD. Okay, CD already done. If this B replaced by ACD, again that is become super key. If this C replaced by okay, we just done this one. Okay, next A prime, B prime, C prime, D and E is prime. So D is prime is in one of the candidate key. In place of D we can substitute the BC. In place of D we can substitute the BC, but BC is already a key. Okay. Next AF, this is the two FDs. One is EC determines A and EC determines F. Okay, A is in one candidate key. In place of A, if you take the EC, then it becomes BEC. BEC closure also determines all attributes, that is A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay. Now, if you, but it is not a candidate key because one of the proper subset BC is already a candidate key. So, it is not a candidate key. So, one of the subset of this BCE is already a candidate key. Now, this A is there in one candidate key, F is not in prime so far. Next BD, B and D, this is also two FDs. CF determines B, one FD, CF determines D is one FD. Okay. So D is in one key, D is in one key. In place of D, if you take the CF, then you will get the CF only. Okay. So CF closure also determines all attributes A, B, C, D, E, F, and C closure is only CA, F closure is only F. So CF is the one more candidate key. Okay. And other FD is D is prime. So D is there in one candidate key. So in place of D, if you take the CF, in place of this D, if you take the CF, again it becomes the CF. Okay. So yeah, that is done. And other one, CF determines B. B is there in three keys. So B is there in three keys. If this B replaced by CF, it become ACF because CF is already key, and this is become CF only, it's already covered. And if this B replaced by CF, it become CEF. CEF is also covers. Okay. So far 5 candidate keys. Now this is also done. BD, CF determines BD, it is also done. Next, EC determines AF. EC determines AF is the one more FD. That is also done before. Next, D determines E. E is there in one candidate key. So in place of E, if you take the D, then it become B D. BD is also one of the candidate key. Okay, then D can replace by C 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let us verify it. AB closure, AB is one candidate key, C is prime which is in many candidate keys. C can replace by AB and this C can replace by AB, which is already done. C determines A is prime, A can replace by BC, then BC determines D. Okay, so D is prime in 2 keys, so if this D replaced by BC, it's already covers. So ACD determines B is there in 3 keys 1, 2, 3. If this B replaced by ACD is not a key because CD is already key. Next, after that BC determines BE determines C. Okay, C is there in these 2 keys, 3 keys. So C can replace by BE. Here BE is already covered. Okay, next AF. Okay, AF is not in one single key. A can replace by EC. If A is replaced by EC, it is become BEC. Okay, BEC. If this A is replaced by EC, okay, it become BEC. BEC closure guarantees determines all attributes, but BEC is not a candidate key because BC is already covers. Okay, then F is there in this key. F can replace by EC. If F is replaces by EC, then it is become, if F is replaces by EC, it is become EC closure. EC closure also determines all attributes. EC closure also determines all attributes, that is A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, so EC is, EC or CE is become one more candidate key. Okay, so next AF already done EC closure, BD already done, and E is part of one key and 2 keys. E can replace by D. If E replaced by D, it become BD, which is already covered. If the C replaced by D, if this becomes CD, it is already covered. So we need to find all candidate keys without any fail. So for finding highest candidate key, this is one important thing. Sorry, to solve the problem finding highest normal form, main thing we need to find candidate keys. Okay, it is one challenging thing. So for few FDs, by chance if only 3-4 FDs is given or 4-5 attributes is given, finding candidate key is very simple thing, but examination question moderately complex. So if more FDs is given and more attributes is given, definitely it takes little more time to find the candidate key. Okay, so now the prime attribute which belongs to any one candidate key, total 7 candidate keys A, B, B, C, B, E, C, D, C, F, B, D and C, E. So A prime, B prime, C prime, E prime and F prime, all are the prime attributes. Okay, so the relational schema A, B, C, D, E, A, B, C, D, E, F, and every attribute is a prime attribute. So if every attribute is a prime attribute, let us test for BCN of AB is key is allowed for BCN of, determinant AB is key, C not key is not allowed, BC is key, determinant ACD is key, determinant BE is key, and determinant EC is key, and determinant CF is also key, but determinant D is not key. So these are the failures for BCN of. So overall the relation is not BCN of. Then if we apply for 3N of, because everyone is a prime attribute, there is no chance to fail for third normal form. Okay, third normal form is guaranteed. So highest normal form of the given relational schema is so answer to this question is option C. Okay, So like this we need to find highest normal form of the given relational schema. Of course, so there is a proper procedure for finding candidate key. I directly explain how to find candidate key. So once you attend the live class, you will get the detailed manner. Okay, it's not like where I can explain whole normalization in 5-10 minutes. It's the topic of 12-13 hours in the regular class or live classes. Okay, so just a model question here. So just to know what kind of complexity they can ask in examination as part of MCQ questions. Next format of question is multiple select question. Okay, it is new format of question in GATE 2021. So previously this multiple select question format is not in GATE pattern. So this is the new pattern. So we need to select all correct choices for a given question. So it's one other challenging question, but the benefit of this question, there is no negative marking and there is no partial marking. So either if 2 mark question, either you get 2 marks or 0 marks. There is no negative marking, there is no partial marking, but you need to select all correct options. More than one correct options can exist. It's one other challenging. So the possibility most probably from the DBMS, okay, conceptual question can be used for multiple selection. Okay, so it's not like, see, any topic, even numerical problem, any topic can frame in any way, but frequency of conceptual question can be more occurrence of the multiple select. Okay, so let us see one simple question for this format. MSQ type question. Okay, like this, they have 4 choices, more than one correct choice. Okay, more than one correct choice, we should select all correct choices. Okay, so is the format of this question. And let us read this question. B plus tree preferred than AVL tree for database index because less access cost. So obviously, whereas AVL tree, each node has in AVL tree, each node can capable to store one single node. One single node can capable to store one key only. Okay, it's like a balanced binary search tree. So that level of tree is become more for more number of keys. If levels are more, then access cost is more. But whereas in B plus tree or B tree, many keys can accommodate in the same node. Okay, so many keys can accommodate in the same node. So levels is less. If levels is less, then IO cost to access the record is also less. So B plus tree preferred than AVL tree for database index because less access cost to access database records. Okay, this is correct choice. Okay, one of the correct choice. Next, B plus tree less levels than B tree for same node order. If node order is same, if p value is same, okay, let us say the p value of B tree node is 10 and p value of B plus tree node also 10. Okay, in this case, let us say this is the p value for B tree node and this is the order for B plus tree node. So as we know, all keys are distributed across the tree in B tree, but within B plus tree every key should be in the leaf. Okay, so because of internal node keys are repeated keys, so there is a chance that B plus tree index more levels than B tree index. Okay, because there is no repetition here, here repetition of internal node keys. So the more levels for B plus tree index than B tree if order is same. So but what he is saying that if node order is same, B plus tree is less levels than B tree is a false statement. Okay, B tree index less levels than B plus tree for same block size. Here comparison is different. Block size is same. So for example, one node is allocated as one disk block. Assume 1024 bytes block is allocated for B tree node, and same 1024 byte block, same 1024 bytes block is allocated for B plus tree node. In this case, the P of order, P means order, P of the B plus tree is more than P of B tree. Okay, if B tree order, assume just random data, so assume some 20 or 25, B plus tree order is become some 35 or something, because the because in this B plus tree internal node doesn't have record pointer, total space can be used only for the block pointers and keys, so more keys can accommodate. Okay, so because of more keys can accommodate in each node, the levels of B plus tree can become less. Okay, so levels of B plus tree can become less than levels of B tree. So B plus tree can be less levels than B tree. But what he says in this statement, B tree less levels than B plus tree is a false statement. Okay, so B plus tree, this is again same block size. If block size allocated for B tree node, B plus tree node, if same, then B plus tree levels is less, what we discussed before. So here B plus tree index less levels than B tree index. Okay, it is also correct. So the multiple selection, first option is correct as well as fourth option is correct. So in this case we have to choose more than one correct answer. So option 1 is also correct and option 4 is also correct. Like this we need to choose more than one correct answer for a given question. So if we select all correct answers, then we get the 2 marks, means a full marks for the question. So by mistakenly if you taken one of the correct option, okay, so then partial marking is not there here. So either you get the full mark or no mark. But benefit of this question, there is a advantage also, there is no negative marking. Next format of question, numerical type question. This question, numerical type question also, it can be either 1 mark question, it can be either 1 mark or 2 marks. Okay, so these questions we need to fill the blank, and that blank is also only numerical value. Consider following ER diagram. Consider the following ER diagram. E1, TP means total participation. Total participation. Here also total participation. Okay, consider the given ER diagram E1, E2, A key attribute, BC non-key attributes, 1-to-1 mapping. So arrows are both the sides, means 1-to-1 mapping, DEF. Then how many super keys in the minimized relation? Okay, how many super keys in the minimized relation? First of all, what is minimal RDBMS design? Minimum number of tables required for this given ER diagram. So it is 1-to-1 mapping, 1-to-1 mapping with total participation both sides. Total participation both sides. Okay, so entities can be merged. It means E1, E2 and relationship can merge into a single table. So the attributes of the table is become A, B, C, D, E, F, and the FD of the functional dependency of this is A determines BC. Okay, functional dependency of E2 is D determines EF. Functional dependency of relationship, because of one-to-one mapping, A determines D also functional dependency, D determines A also functional dependency. So overall FDs, okay, overall FDs of this table, one single table is sufficient. FDs of this table, A determines BC because of entity set E1, A determines D because of relationship, and D determines EF because of entity set E2, and D determines A because of relationship. So two FDs. So to find super keys, we must know the candidate keys. So first of all, one-to-one mapping, total participation both side, entities can combine together. If entities are combined together, then these are the FDs in the one single table. If these are the FDs, A and D two candidate keys. A closure determines all attributes, D closure determines all attributes. AD are the two candidate keys. Okay, minimal super keys. Okay, but the question is, how many super keys in the relational schema? Okay, so 6 attributes, 2 simple candidate keys. Then how many super keys in relational schema? Total 6 attributes and 2 simple candidate keys. So to find all super keys of candidate key A, okay, because of candidate key A, the total super keys of candidate key A is total 6 attributes, right? So A combines with any subset of remaining attributes is 2 power 5 attributes, 2 power 5 super keys. So super keys of candidate key D, super keys of candidate key D. So D combined with any subset of remaining attributes, this is 2 power 5, and common super keys. Okay, so where AD is common, AD combined with any subset of remaining 4 attributes. So these are 2 power 4 common super keys. The total super keys, total number of super keys, 2 power 5 super keys for first set and 2 power 5 super keys for second set, minus 2 power 4 super keys. Okay, so 32 plus 32, 64 minus 16, so 48 is the total number of super keys. Let us move to important topics, overall important topics of the DBMS syllabus. So finding super keys and foreign key related problems, one important area, and candidate key identification and highest normal form finding and decomposition of higher normal form, and relational algebra queries, SQL queries, and conflict and view serializability problems, 2PL problems, and B tree, B plus tree problems, and conversion of ER diagram to RDBMS table. So in MEDISI live classes, the course duration is around 65 hours. So we are going to discuss each and every details of the each and every topic from the basic to very advanced level. Also we are going to solve workbook problems of the MEDISI. So it's around 60 to 70 hour session in MEDISI live, which is properly edited. Okay, so if you take the MEDISI live class of DBMS, no need to study any other source. Okay, so blindly you can able to answer gate questions without any mistake. So that much detailed manner we are going to discuss as part of live session. So this is all about the DBMS gate pattern for DBMS subject gate pattern for 2021. So Thank you so much. So, we will meet in MedEasy live classes. So, we will get back to you. Thank you so much.
Welcome to Computer Science IT 2021. Good day. Myself Ram Kumar. I am a faculty of Computer Science and I am a Computer Networks faculty. I am teaching in this organization MedEasy from past 8 years. Before that I used to work in some reputed colleges for past for 4 years, and I have done my MTech in Computer Science department in JNTU organization, and my BTech in the electronics electronics communication from JNTU. Just have a swap from ECE to the computer science. This is my educational profile and my experience. And regarding the subject called computer networks, basically the computer networks which I am teaching from past 8 years in this organization. So, what exactly the computer networks means? We are going to discuss different layers. What is the OSA model, what is the TCP IP model, what are the different layers will be there, how the OSA of 7 layers has been reduced to 5 layers of TCP IP, and the basics of packet switching and circuit switching. Like we take systems and the routers and their cables will be connected. What is resource reservation, where the delay will be less, where the delay will be high, what is the fault tolerance, what exactly mean by conjunction, some basics which are derived from the telephone switching that will be applied in the networks. We are going to discuss in this packet switching and circuit switching. In fact, they are using some word like virtual switching also, because this virtual switching is actually used in the TCP. See, the idea of having this basics of packet switching and circuit and virtual switching is, once we discuss transport layer and we compare this TCP and UDP, there the things becomes easy. So, they have added this packet switching and circuit switching. Now, the most important point is data link layer. See, actually the network work, if you as a layman way if you observe, it may think it is a complex, but they have made so easy using a divide and conquer principle. In that we can talk about this data link layer. Actually data link layer means what? LAN, local area network. In a local area network, what functionalities will be there, that we are going to discuss. See, what exactly this framing? See, we expect the data that you transmit is of small size. Even from the application or some other layer you get a more data. So, that having the dividing into small parts, it becomes very easy for the error control policies to detect them easily if by chance error occurs. So, that dividing into small parts is called framing. We are going to discuss that framing techniques like character count, character stuffing, bit stuffing, like that. How to add extra bits? So, you provide synchronization, and parallel if some error occurs, how to find the things easily, that concept is the framing. And remember, these things we are discussing only in the local area network. And in fact, what is this flow and error control means? Protocol. See, everything is here is a protocols only. Protocol means what? Set of rules. Set of rules means what? Set of algorithms we are going to discuss. Like here we talk about stop and wait ARQ, go back and ARQ, select repeat ARQ. These protocols we are going to discuss. How sender has to send and how the receiver is going to accept only in the data link layer. And what is error control? Like what is a Hamming code, what is a parity scheme, how it going to work, what is a checksum, what is CRC. So, those all basic things we are going to learn in the data link layer. Say medium access control. See, whatever that topology or the LAN they are going to provide, some channels will be a shared channel. See, whenever there is a concept of sharing, then there is always a possibility of competition, and when they try to send more people, there is a collision. Collisions are there, throughput will be less. Throughput is less, you have to increase the throughput. So, we have to design the protocols in such a way, throughput you have to increase, means collisions you have to decrease. So, those protocols are nothing but the medium access control protocols. There we discuss pure Aloha, slotted Aloha, CSMA. CSMA by CD is the finalizer technique, because all the problems will be solved in that CSMA by seeding. and in the wireless we go for CSMA by CA. It does not mean that wireless has been removed, so it should CSMA by CA is the technique which is used in the wireless. So, that we have to discuss, because that they are asking the medium access control. See, obviously if it is a point to point communication and you transmit, then there won't be any issue of having a collision if it is a full duplex channel, but the problem will come only if it is a shared channel like a bus topology. In fact, you can in computer organization you can talk about that shared bus. There also, when more than one people try to send, there is a competition, only one person should transmit. So, anyway, and this is Ethernet bridging. This is a new term which is added in the syllabus. It's actually, it's not a new, some extra contents you have to add. See, whatever in that bus shared channel, once you apply the rules, once you made a format, you have to apply the protocol. That's called IEEE 802.3, which we discuss. Why there should be a minimum frame size and why there is a limitation of the maximum frame size. To give fair and equal chance, they put some limitation of this. This is the size of the frame that you have to send. In fact, that is called framing. But what is this Ethernet bridging? See, they have introduced a cable called 10 megabits per second. But as the days progresses, even the protocol is working, people demand for more bandwidth. So, the technology has been changed in such a way, like from 10 megabits to 100 megabits per second. 1 gigabits per second, 10 gigabits per second, like that. So, you see the bandwidth is increasing. So, when the bandwidth is increasing, obviously users, so they can send more data, they can download more data in less time. Not only that, so what they want to do, what is the meaning of Ethernet bridging means, as the bandwidth is increasing, they do not want to touch that minimum frame size or that MAC layer of MAC address of 48 bit. By putting that values as it is, they want to increase the bandwidth and decrease the size. What is the advantage of that? By decreasing the length of the cable, the space occupied by the that particular cable is a way you can put in some corner. Previously we have a very long cable, now you can put in a small sizes, they are coming in the form of bit switches actually. That is actually Ethernet bridging. Means what? After learning IEEE 802.3, I mean after learning CSMA by CD followed by IEEE 802.3, we have to talk about some cables, how the band is increasing and how the size is decreasing, how is negotiating with the previous protocols without any changing the actual protocol. Okay, so there we have to talk about if you means anyway networking devices, hub, then switch, then bridge. At bridge you are going to talk about a collision domain separator, broadcast domain separator. So, how the bridging will be done? So, that is the actual concept we have to learn somewhat more in the data link layer in the syllabus of the new added syllabus of GATE 2021. Now, you see this routing protocols, that means to that LAN, if you want to send the data to in the internet, there will be a device called a WAN device, a wide area network or a router. So, all functionalities of network layer will be done by this device called router. So, here they have placed some routing protocols. Obviously, these are all there in the previous syllabus only, but here what we have to do along with the distance vector and short the link state routing, the flooding, we have to learn their protocols also like RIP and OSPF, because they are giving questions from that. That means it is not giving the questions. RIP and OSPF are the protocols and these are the internal algorithms. So, there we have to discuss what is a periodic timer, what is a trigger update timer, if link changes, how you are going to transmit via other links using fault tolerance. These all will be done by the router called network layer. And here comes the most important thing, they are adding some contents. Actually, these are all in the previous syllabus only, but they want to be more specific here, the fragmentation and IP addressing. So, what exactly is the fragmentation? See, from when you send from data end to end, limitations are there for every LAN that this much size only you have to send. But IP protocol has put a limitation that they put some size, a bigger size like 65535. So, as it is passing via so data will be converted into small sizes. So, how you converted, how you provide synchronization, what is the identification field, that is called fragmentation. It is a very important topic, and they are mostly they want to convey, we have to talk more about IP addressing. That means what is the sequence, what is classful addressing, how the wastage will be there, what is subnetting. After that, here see they have mentioned CIDR notation. That means what? We are talking about a classless interdomain notations also, how this is a CIDR is better than already existing classful addressing. and how practical in the internet the CIDR notation are used. So that we have to discuss. Now see, they are means in the syllabus they are putting some IP support protocols, ARP, DHCP, ICMP. See, in the previous syllabus also in the network layer we will discuss what is IP protocol, ARP protocol, DHCP protocol, their headers. But now along with those protocols we have to link which protocol is linked to which protocol, how the data is flowing, if error happens how ICMP is going to inform, why the header format is there, that linking is added. Means they want to be more specific in the protocols and they are linking actually. Okay. And anyway, this network address translation is a new term, it is added, but this is going to discuss in this IP addressing only, like in a LAN how you assign a private IP, and for getting a internet you go for a public IP. That is a many to one conversion, that router will act as a network address translation. It is only a name tag, but there we discuss what is static NAT, dynamic NAT, NAT plus PAT, that we are going to add here. Okay. In fact, in a single terms, what exactly the networking device router will do, that they have mentioned. And now here is a transport layer. Here the transport layer is end-to-end communication. Again, flow control and error control will be provided in this transport layer, but end-to-end in the internet. So if you want to understand end-to-end what is happening, first you should know what is happening inside the LAN. So that's why they have applied the what you call divide and conquer principle. So there in the flow control means the TCP, once we learn the stop and wait hierarchy, go back and hierarchy in the data link layer, by clubbing all them they have specified one single protocol. With that you can understand the whole flow control policies. In the conjunction policies we discuss slow start algorithm, conjunction avoidance, conjunction detection protocols we are going. And here the difference between the UDP and TCP, if you want a reliability, even if it is slow, you go for TCP. If the data want to fast and you want to send small size, you can go for UDP. Previously, the initial circuit switching and packet switching will be helpful to understand clearly this TCP and UDP. It is same as the previous syllabus, this transport layer. Only thing is linking is added more, okay, in the 2021. And application layer protocols, DNS means how you get a destination IP, who is going to provide it, SMTP. See, this SMTP email is both are same only, but why they have given specifically want to say, see, when the SMTP is for what, for sending the mail. So only if you discuss SMTP means the mail will only go to the mail server, but other user may not receive that mail. So that's why they have mentioned something like email. That means indirectly they want to talk about a POP3 and IMAP4 also, where other person is able to pop, or you can say pull that particular mail from the mail server. So obviously this SMTP and email are is a part of one protocol suite only. If you want to access web content, is a HTTP, and FTP is the file, if you want to download the file. See, anyway, this application layer are specific protocols. So the most important thing is data link layer, network layer, transport layer. Linking is very important. Okay. Just as I have said, the added topics are the NAT, Ethernet switching, the networking layer protocols, and their particular linking. And the good part in this 2021, they have removed the basic security and IPv6. The basic security in the earlier syllabus, we are going to discuss the security algorithms, Diffie-Hellman key, RSA algorithm, digital signatures, all those. They have completely removed that security. That is a good part actually, because they want to be more specific in the networks. And as my understanding, if you observe the previous 2020 GATE exam, they have not given any question in the security. All the questions are contained in that networks, but all in the previous years they have included that. So obviously they have I am thinking that they have removed the security when they have not given any question. Unnecessarily it's a wasting time of the students. It's my personal opinion. That is one of the reason I think they have removed the security. And IPv6 is only, it means indirectly after IPv4 how the IPv6 address of 128 bits, how it is given. So these two things are removed. Okay. And these are the added topics that you have to discuss in a brief manner. And this is the last 5 years weightage of computer networks, you can see the average weighting marks will be some 8.5 or 9 you can say. You can say in 2019 and 20 there are no the difference of sets, there is only one set exam. Before that there are set exams are there, means set 1, set 2, and obviously in one of the year it is in set 3 also. You can see the average weightage is in the 8.43, and most of the questions will be the linking like between the data link layer and the network layer and the transport layer only they are asking. Okay. I think out of 100 marks 8.4 means around 9% is the in this particular subject. Okay. See there is some question that we are talking about some questions here, MCQ multiple choice question. They have given for a pseudo network. Pseudo network means if you have designed your own network, and that is a IPv4 protocol. Total length field is 16 bits, fragmentation offset is 12 bits. See actually IPv4, if you remember, if you have some idea in IPv4 header, total length field will be 16 only, but here the fragmentation field will be 13 bits. But since it is a pseudo network, they have given this question, what is the fragment offset indicates. So they have given different options. See, to understand this I have just taken some example. For example, see here it is a memory having some 32 locations or 32 bytes. So each location you are able to store only 1 byte. So when we have 32 bytes, to identify each location you require 5 bits. So here 5 bits are there. Now see, suppose there is a memory chip where it can store only 4 bytes. So my idea in this question is, when here 32 bytes are there and I want to fill all these 32 bytes here, it is not possible because this memory chip is going to occupy only 4 bytes. So now the question is, how many such type of memory chips are required to store all these 32 bytes? Means the answer is quite aptitude you can say. What we can say, it is a quant you can say. Here we have 32, here we have 4, obviously 32 by 4 it is 8. Okay, that is the actual thing you can, that means 8 memory chips are required. I will tell you this answer in another way. See, here how many bits are there? 5. Here how many bits are there? 2. Difference how much? 3. 2 power 3 how much? 8. So that is the way we have explained. Same, using the same concept. Now see, it is 16 minus 12, 4. So 2 power 4, 16. So what is the answer here? Multiplied by 16 will give you the starting address of the fragment. Okay. So this is this I have taken one pseudo approach. How you got that 8? With the help of that, here the answer is how much? It is 16. B is the answer. In the actual IPv4 network, total length is 16, fragment offset is 13, difference is 3. So 2 power 3, 8 is playing the role. This is a multiple choice question. So B is the answer for it. Now see, there is one more thing, MSQ example. Suppose if you had an idea in the data link layer and network layer and a transport layer also, but you are not linking these 3 topics, what will happen that you will be knowing in this question. Now see, what they mentioned, when packets are lost in the network, ICMP can inform and source can again resend the packets. Now what is the meaning of this option? It is quite simple. Network layer or router is unreliable. So whenever a packet is coming, the packet will be stored inside the router and is going to forward on the best path. Because channel will be noisy or the network is unreliable, there are many chances are there the packets will be dropped. So the concept is, or the story is, once the packets are dropped, ICMP protocol will come and inform to source that for so and so reason the packet is lost. Then source is again going to resend the data. So obviously here ICMP is solving the problem you can say. So here when packets are lost in the network, ICMP can inform and source can again resend the packets. It is correct. What are the different error messages? Source quench message, time exceeded, parameter problem, like that different messages are going to send according to the problem how the packet is lost, and source again going to resend the data. It is correct. If you put A as answer, obviously it is correct. But see, here they again one more option. When packets are lost in the network, TCP can inform and the source can again resend the packet. So how you link this second one? Means here this is the linking question. The logic is, when this ICMP packet, when it is reverting back to source, if it is lost, then you may think that source will not be knowing about it and source cannot resend the data. But the actual point is, if you learned about the TCP and you link to this network layer protocol called ICMP, what will happen? In case of TCP, TCP can accept out of order segments and obviously out of order segments. So, when any out of order segment is accepted, because the in order segment is missing, it is lost in the network, then the TCP receiver is going to send the in order acknowledgement. So, that in order acknowledgement will act as a global acknowledgement for that ICMP. So, even if ICMP whatever it is transmitting, it is lost, this TCP is going to cover and inform to the source, and then source again going to resend the data. If you say answer A, it is correct, but you will not get the marks, because you have to put B is also the answer. So, this is what exactly that MSQ example means. That means you will have more than one answer. So, this is called linking. You can see this is called linking of all the layers. See, in the textbooks, very standard textbooks, you will have all the layers separately, you can read them, but linking is most important. So, only once you know the linking, you can solve such type of questions actually. So, here answer is both A and B also. Okay, fine. That just want to convey what exactly the MSQ. No doubt when you put a is the answer, no doubt, but you will not get a marks. Okay, and if you put a you do not get a marks and you do not get a negative marks also, but if you put both A as well as B, you will get a complete marks. Okay, fine. So, here answer is A and B. Whatever I have explained, in some words it is written. This is one of the questions. Many times students used to ask, where are the layers physically they are available. Until you complete all the layers at transport layer, the linking you cannot understand. It is not like router is there, network layer, LAN is there, data link layer, not like that. From the source itself all layers are present. When you will understand? Once you link all the layers. So, this problem, see, they have this is one time they have given in some of the GATE exam also. From source destination you are sending the data, and these are the intermediate routers, and they are asking how many times each packet visit the network layer during a transmission from the source to destination. So, here from the source itself you start sending the data, at every layer you are going to add the header. Now, here these routers you can call it as a 3-layer devices, you can say 3-layer switches. So, what happens at this junction, this particular area is called it as a LAN, this is also one more LAN. So, what exactly happens means, at this entry point you will attach the data link layer header, and at this entry point you will remove the data link layer header of that network. In a layman way I can say this is one single LAN. Here you attach, here you detach, again here you attach, here you detach. What? Data link layer header. It is not the previous data, it is a separate LAN you can say. So, here this router now it will have a physical data link and network layer. Above network layer contents it cannot visualize. So, that is why these routers are called it as the 3-layer devices. Okay. So, in this whole scenario what happens at the source, first you will attach application layer header, transport layer header if you are following a TCP IP model. So, once all layers headers are attached, you can call that whatever you send is a frame or a bits also, physical layer is no significance. Here you attach a data link layer header and you remove, here you attach, here you remove, but only that router packet visibility will be available in the router. So, as far as in this question they are asking how many times the network layer is visited. See, this is 1 time, 2, 3 and it is 4. Suppose, see, obviously if I ask if you ask me a query, transport layer how many times it is visited in this diagram, see it is only 1 and here it is 2 times. That means if you use in place of these routers some other gateway devices, then the transport layer also visible. Router is a 3-layer device. Anyway, in this problem the network layer is visiting how many times? 4 times. So, 4 is the answer for it. And these are the important topics: data link layer, network layer, transport layer and their linking between the layers. The protocols are loaded. Actual content whatever so far we have learned in 2021, some new topics means protocols and their linkings are added. So that you have to update. Okay, thank you very much. Good day. Thank you, my dear students.
Hello students, myself Sagar Pingili, senior faculty in the MadeEasy coaching institution, teaching computer organization subject. GATE 2021 syllabus with respect to the computer organization subject is described here. First concept is machine instructions and addressing modes. This topic is concentrates on the instruction design in the CPU and also different addressing modes used in the instruction design to access the data and also to access the instructions. So this is the first topic which covers the various instructions in the CPU and also different addressing modes used in the instruction design. Okay. Second topic in the syllabus is ALU data path and the control unit design. This topic is concentrates on the CPU organization. That means different types of CPU organizations present in the computer design, like stack CPU, accumulator CPU, register to memory reference CPU, register to register reference CPU. So these different CPU structures are classified based on the ALU data path. That means how the ALU accepting the data and how the ALU processing the data. After the processing, how the result is stored in the system. Based on this context, CPU organization is classified into 4 types, right? So that 4 types of CPU organization associated with a ALU data path is elaborated in this topic. And also the control unit designing will be elaborated in this topic. Control unit is very important in the CPU. It is acting like a brain of a CPU. Therefore, control unit design is more and most important, more essential in the CPU designing. So what is control unit? How the control unit is implemented in the computer system, that will be elaborated in the second topic. Right. Now come to the third topic. Third topic is instruction pipelining. Instruction pipelining is an enhancement technique in the computer system to improve the performance without adding any extra hardware. By using the existing hardware, we are going to improve the performance of a CPU. How to improve the performance of CPU without adding extra hardware? That is explained with the instruction pipelining concept. So instruction pipelining is important in the CPU architecture, right? At the time of implementing the instruction pipeline, there are different disadvantages, implementation issues, not exactly the disadvantages, limitations, implementation issues possible. So what are the different implementation issues present in the pipeline design? How to handle the issues? That will be elaborated in the topic instruction pipeline, right? After that, next topic given in the syllabus is memory hierarchy design. Memory hierarchy design is also one of the enhancement technique in the computer system design to minimize the access time of a memory system to improve the performance of a CPU, because of performance is inversely proportional to access time. So what is the memory hierarchy design? How to implement memory hierarchy design? That will be elaborated in this topic. right? So here only cache memory implementation is elaborated in the computer organization subject, right? With respect to the computer system follows the von Neumann architecture. So CPU always executing the main memory part of a program. But here main memory having two limitations. One is the speed, second is the space. So main memory speed is synchronized with a CPU speed using the cache memory. Second is a main memory space. Main memory space is synchronized with a application program size using the virtual memory design. So virtual memory concept is elaborated in the operating system subject, and cache memory concept is elaborated in the computer organization subject. So in the memory hierarchy topic, we are going to elaborate the cache memory implementation, right? After elaborating the cache memory implementation, let us concentrate on the secondary storage components, right? Frequently used secondary storage component in the personal computer is hard disk design. So hard disk structure will be elaborated. So that is the memory hierarchy concept, right? And the last topic given in the syllabus is IO interface unit, right? Interrupt driven IO, DMA module, and also programmed IO. So three different IO transfer modes are used in the system design to transfer the data from the IO to CPU and IO to memory. So these three modes of IO operations are elaborated in the last topic. So this is the syllabus. I repeat. First topic is machine instructions and the addressing modes. Second topic is ALU data path and the CPU control unit design. And third one is instruction pipelining. In that instruction pipeline, implementation issues, that means pipeline stalls and how to handle the stalls. And the next one is memory hierarchy design. In that, cache memory design along with a secondary storage components. And the last one is the IO interface unit, that is interrupt driven IO, programmed IO and DMA modes. This is the syllabus given in the GATE 2021 with respect to the computer organization and architecture subject. Okay, when we compare 2021 revised new syllabus with the old syllabus, added topics are nil. Added topics nil. And also removed topics are nil. That means what? There is no change in the old syllabus and revised syllabus with respect to the computer organization and architecture topic or computer organization and architecture subject. There is no change in the syllabus. Old syllabus, new syllabus will be same to same. No new topics added and no existing topics removed. Okay, right. Let us see the last 5 years of the computer organization and architecture subject weightage in the GATE exam, right? So here already table is displayed to you. You just see the weightage. GATE 2020, GATE 2019, GATE 2018. In these 3 years, only one set of the question paper is there. So according to the one set weightage given, verify that. And come to the GATE 2017 and GATE 2016. In these 2 years, 2 sets of question paper present in the GATE exam. So weightage individually mentioned here. So on average, when we look at the total 5 years of the weightage, 11 to 11.6 marks. So let us see. On the average of 10 to 12 marks weightage associated with the subject. So from one single subject, 10 to 12 marks weightage on average means it is not a small thing, because in this subject, if you put some attention, concentration to gain at least 8 marks or 6 to 8 marks, your rank will be improved. From one subject, this much weightage means compulsory you need to concentrate on the subject, right? So this subject is not a standalone subject. Actually, computer organization and architecture subject is having the different interconnections. First, we are going to see the basic computer organization concepts. After that, implementation of a computer organization concepts, that is microprocessor. After that, performance enhancement of a computer system, that is a advanced computer architecture. So integration of basic CO, implementation of CO, advanced CO equal to GATE CO. So in the GATE exam, whatever the syllabus is given, that syllabus is associated with the integration of 3 subjects: basic computer organization and implementation of a computer organization and enhancement of a computer organization. That's what in one subject 11.6 marks weightage is there on average with respect to the 5 years of the GATE evaluation. Right? Okay. Now let us see the pattern of questions in the GATE 2021. In GATE 2021, questions are categorized into 3 types. Name as a multiple choice questions, MCQs. Second, multiple selection questions, MSQs. And third, numerical answer type questions, NATs. Right? Now let us see the first category of a questions, that is a multiple choice questions, MCQs. These questions are carrying 1 or 2 marks weightage. These questions are objective in the nature, which contain choice of 4 answers. We need to select only one correct answer. That is the multiple choice questions. Question contain choice of 4 answers. In the 4 choices, only one choice is correct. You need to select that one. Sample question given. Read the question. In which of the following addressing modes effective address is calculated by adding the constant to some register content? Options given. Question is that 4 options given. First one, immediate addressing. Second is direct addressing. Third is indirect addressing. Fourth is index addressing. So question contains choice of 4 answers. We need to select only one choice which is correct. Right? According to this question, correct choice is D, index addressing mode. Like this, multiple choice questions are present in the paper. Right? Second pattern of the question is multiple selection question. Multiple selection question, MSQs, are objective in nature. Question contain choice of 4 options. Among the 4 options, 1 or more options may be correct options. So we need to identify the correct options and select the corresponding choice. Okay. So these are 1 or 2 marks weightage questions in the paper. Sample question given here. Read the question, that is, which of the following are the characteristics of a RISC CPU? 4 choices given. First choice, variable length instructions. Second choice, fixed length instructions. Third choice, CPI equal to 1. Fourth choice, less registers. So in the 4 choices, we need to identify the correct choices related to the question. RISC CPU supports fixed length instructions. So correct choice is fixed length instruction. Right. Because of RISC CPU supports fixed length instructions, pipeline becomes successful in the RISC CPU. When pipeline is successful, CPI equal to 1. Then CPI equal to 1 is also the characteristic of a RISC CPU. So in the 4 options, 4 choices, two choices are correct choices related to the question. So select those two choices. Like this, multiple selection questions are present in the paper. So according to this question, correct choice is B and C. So select B and C both. That is the multiple selection question. This is a new pattern of the question in GATE 2021 exam paper. Right? Okay. Now come to the third category of the paper, that is numerical answer type questions, that is NAT. So these questions are fill in the blank in nature, carrying 1 or 2 marks each. Okay, so these are the calculation based questions. Therefore, based on the given data, we need to compute the value. That value we need to type in the given blank. Right? Now see the question. Consider 4-stage pipeline with respect to delays of 2 nanosecond, 4 nanosecond, 6 nanosecond and 3 nanosecond. Performance gain of a pipeline is dash. Now we need to take the computation and we need to type the answer in the given blank. Right? So that means speed up equal to, performance gain means speed up. S equal to Tn upon Tp. In the pipeline, when the n value is not given, assume as infinity. So with respect to that, Tn upon Tp, compute the value. Computational value is 2.5. So that type the 2.5 in the given blank. This is the numerical answer type questions. These are calculation based questions. Right? Okay. Like this, in the exam paper, GATE 2021, 3 category of the questions are present. Name as multiple choice questions, multiple selection questions, numerical answer type questions. Okay, 3 category of the questions present in the GATE 2021 paper. Come to the important topics in the syllabus. According to the feedback of a previous papers, instruction pipeline topic and the cache memory topic. These are the 2 important areas in the computer organization and the architecture subject. Right? So frequently asked questions in the GATE exam with respect to the previous papers formulated from the instruction pipeline topic and the cache memory topic. Okay, but to understand the instruction pipeline and cache memory, first you should know the basic concepts in the subject. Suppose if you see the instruction pipeline, here pipelining allows overlapping execution. Overlapping means 2 or more instructions are executed in parallel. In parallel, 2 or more instructions are executed. To understand 2 or more instructions execution, first of all you should know how one instruction is running in the hardware. So without knowing single instruction execution, overlapping execution we cannot understand. That means to become master in the pipelining and the cache memory, first you should know the basic structure of a computer hardware. So in this subject, selection of a topic is not possible. Every topic is equally important because of computer organization and architecture subject is a pipelined subject. All the concepts are equally important. If you miss any concept, link is also missing. Therefore, you are unable to understand the question at the end. That is the reason carefully read all the concepts in the computer organization subject because all the topics are interconnected topics. Don't miss any topic. If you maintain the continuity and connectivity among the concepts, at the end you are in a position to understand the pipelining and also cache memory designing. If these concepts are clear to you, then immediately you can understand the questions in the exam. If you understand the questions, answer is also present in the question. Right? So this is the subject concepts weightage. Clear? So carefully read all the concepts related to the GATE exam syllabus. Be perfect in all the areas. All the best. My dear students, God bless you all. Thank you.